Hey guys, welcome back to Raid Shadow Legends. In today's video, we are going to be talking Fire Knight Castle, level 20. Now, this is what you need to do for the Arbiter missions. I farm this for events is about all. I don't really farm this dungeon at all at the moment. We're only on day 26 at the time of recording this of my account. I'm recording all the dungeons today. So if you're looking at this going, hey, where's his account progress at? That's because I'll just spread these out over a few days. So that is where we're at, day 26 at the moment. And this is on farm because I did farm it for an event to get some extra rewards. And it's quite easy to do. Now, with the Fire Knight, there's a couple key things that really make this boss what it is. One of the things that is, two things that are very, very important is multi-hitters and speed/turn denial. So you want to be faster than the boss and cycling through him and reducing his turn gauge and then having multi-hits because he has the passive where I don't even know where it's actually written in his kit. But he will have a shield that comes up every time he takes a turn. When that shield comes up, you need to hit through that shield to break it down so that you can get to his actual body and attack him. Because while that shield's up, you can't debuff him either. So having a turn manipulator is very key, and Armiger is a fantastic free-to-play option because he has this ability here, which it just attacks and it decreases the turn meter by 30% if the attack's critical. So you build him with crit, accuracy, nothing else really matters. Armiger is super, super clutch for this boss. Unfortunately, he is not a multi-hitter, but you make up for that with the rest of your team. Just note, you want to be doing this with a team setup. So you can see here that my Armiger is on round 3 programmed not to use his second ability, even though it can deal decent damage. I only want him to be manipulating the turn gauge. That is the key there. Now, everyone else on your team, you want to be really fast and you want to have multi-hitters. If you are struggling with Fire Knight, my recommendation is don't farm Fire Knight. If you're struggling with Fire Knight, it's either a champion problem, which for me, Fayne, Tagoar, Deacon are all champions from my download link. You got Armiger, who's a free unit, and then we've got Supreme Gallic, which if you got him, the code is unfortunately done now, but if you don't have him, you get Alice from the Alice code, and Alice is probably a little bit better in this, except she doesn't have the speed slow. So you will be lacking the speed slow if you do bring the Alice, but it should be pretty fine nonetheless for level 20. Now, as I mentioned, if you're struggling with Fire Knight, it's either that you don't have the multi-hitter units or you don't have the speed on your champions, because speed is very important. Now, I go in depth into my builds on my characters in my Dragons video, so I'll leave that linked if you want to look through it. But just quickly, that is my Galix build. You can see he's at 227. Tagoar is at 228. Deacon is at 230. Armiger is my slowest. You can see he is incredibly slow. And if I was struggling and I needed to make this more reliable, I would just have to make my Armiger quicker. You can see he's on level 4 boots. He's on like full level 4 gear. Like, I put no investment into this guy. I just had one job that I wanted him to do. So I got him to 100% crit rate and max and 200 accuracy, which is enough for level 20. And then I got as much speed as I could. Now, like I said, if I was struggling, the number one thing I would do here would be to speed up my Armiger, because if you get him fast enough, he can completely deny the turn of the enemy. So if you're running the Alice instead of the Gallic, because the Gallic does have the speed slow, it's not always reliable, but it is a possibility to do, then you would need to speed up this Armiger so he's reducing the boss's turn gauge more often. That is the big thing. And that's pretty much all there is to it in this one. My Fayne as well is at 188 speed. So she's a little bit slow, but yeah, you want to be around at least that 200 speed with everyone, and then making your Armiger faster is going to work even better. If you don't have Armiger, you might have another turn gauge manipulator, but he's just a really easy free-to-play option. So like I said, if you're struggling, it's probably because you're not fast enough, and my suggestion would be that Dragons is a much easier entry level. There's also a bunch of other places like Real-Time Arena and stuff where you can get some really good gear to help speed your champions up. So I would look to those before I even worry about farming Fire Knight. But once again, 20, this is for the Arbiter missions. That's why I'm going through this. But let's jump in and give you guys a run and take a look at the way this one functions. Now, this is not going to be a quick run by any stretch of the imagination, but that's not what we're here for. We're just here so that we could get the missions done that we have to for the Arbiter missions. And that's pretty much it. So let's take a look at the way this goes. Now, the waves are pretty boring. I want to play through it for you guys so you guys can see it, so it's not like I'm manualing waves. But when you have Tagoar in your team, which once again, I think most download links now have Tagoar, he just carries you. If something dies, who cares? Unless there's a block revive on the enemy team, which I don't think there is in the Fire Knight, you're pretty much good to go. It doesn't matter what happens, you're just eventually going to get through it. You can see my Armiger, because he's built for crit and accuracy. He's got an accuracy chest and a crit gloves. Dude is squishy as all hell. He's on 4-star gear. He's absolutely trash, but all I need to do is get to the boss, revive him, and then let him do his thing. It's a really nice cheese with the Tagoar. Like I said, he is a really cheesy unit where he just lets you do things that you otherwise shouldn't be able to do. Like, I should probably have a proper built Armiger who can live through these waves, still have 100% crit, still have all the accuracy, the 200 accuracy, but you just don't need it because Tagoar exists and the dude is an absolute beast and he just carries your teams. So that's where we're at. Now, once again, if you don't have any of these champions, like if you don't have Deacon Armstrong, just any multi-hitter is going to be really, really good. If they also have debuffs like speed decrease, any other debuffs that you're missing, getting a defense decrease, getting a weaken, all the damage amplifications are also going to be nice. You can deal more damage to the boss. But multi-hitters with multiple abilities that can multi-hit are really, really powerful as well. The other thing is we've got a speed buff with the Tagoar. If you didn't have him, I know Apothecary is another great one because he is a rare champion that has a triple hitter on his basic. He has turn gauge boost and speed buff, and then he has a single target heal that can crit. So he is another great option to slap into one of these teams. Even if you just like need a speed booster and you've got another multi-hit healer. The other thing that you can do as well is I'll show you guys a blessing that I used on my other account where the Mausoleum Mage, there's a blessing where if a champion is affected by his speed buff, his defense buff, and they get attacked, it reflects damage, and then that counts as ticks to the boss. So reflect damage counts into the shield when the boss actually attacks, which is really nice. So reflecting damage or using blessings that can reflect damage is really nice. If you have counter attackers, they are also really good, especially counter attackers with multi-hitters or counter attackers who buff the rest of the team with multi-hits. But as you can see, we managed to land our speed decrease on the boss with the Supreme Gallic. And now we're just into just make sure Armiger reduces gauge. As you can see, like now the boss does nothing. You just got to punch through that shield, and now we just keep poking away. And I'll show you my preset as well, because when I get to the boss at level 20 specifically with this exact team, if I use a basic on every champion first, and then use Gallic's AoE as the second attack he uses, it's always going to happen as the boss breaks the shield, and that's why my timing works, that I managed to get this speed slow up on the boss. It's just a kind of cheesy thing that you can play around with your timings, but due to the stacks of the shield, I do Gallic a basic attack for 2 hits, Deacon for 2 hits, Fayne for 2 hits, Tagoar for 2 hits, Armiger for 1 hit, and then by that time the shield is down to 1, and then my Gallic can use his skill 3, which then applies the speed slow. And that's like a cheesy little thing you can do, but depending on your team, the synergies, how many hits the exact champions have, you can play around with your presets when you walk into the boss so that you can, land some key things if you want to. So for instance, like when we walk into the boss, I don't really want to be using Tagoar's revive straight away. Normally, the Armiger, he's always alive on wave 2. I've never had a situation where he wasn't, and then we're pretty good. But as you can see, like it's a slow fight. Unfortunately, Armiger just missed one of his turn gauge reductions there, so the boss might actually get 1 attack in here. We do have extra turn gauge manipulation. It's only tiny, but it's enough from Fayne, and yeah, that's basically got us across the line there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, speed is key and multi-hits. Speed and multi-hits and manipulation, and that's pretty much the way to get through this boss. Ooh. I know it's only 5-star, but ooh, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. I'll take it. That is that. Like I said, I'll show you guys my presets over here, if I can find it. So you'll see when we get to round 3, which is the boss battle, Deacon is using his basic attack first. Supreme Gallic is using his basic attack first. Tagoar is using his basic attack first. Fayne is just not using her skill 2 because it's a single hitter, and I don't care if she uses her 2 hitter on the basic or 3 hitter on the skill 3 first. Doesn't really bother me which one. Obviously, he is only going to be using his basic attack for the turn manipulation, not to do with the multi-hits, but by everyone rotating through one of their basic attacks first, then Gallic comes around and uses this AoE, which the boss by then is above 50%, and that allows me to hit him with this and get the speed decreased. So once again, that's a finicky thing. It's not going to work the same for absolutely everyone depending on your team, but that is a thing you can do. And as I mentioned, I want to show you guys this one blessing because, like I said, reflect damage is a really nice way to do it. Just note the reflect damage only counts towards the boss's stacks if you are not shielded, or if it breaks the shield. If you have a shield that absorbs the entire hit, then it doesn't work. And that's why I'm not using this strategy, because Tagoar is always putting his shield up. Now, I could turn his shield off, but if I do need a revive, then I'm kind of boned. So if we go over here to the Mausoleum Mage, you can see I haven't even put his on yet. But if you look at Faultless Defense, whenever an enemy attacks an ally under increased defense buff placed by this champion, reflects a portion of the damage back to the attacker. Now, it's only 3% damage. The damage is not what we're talking about, but each reflection counts as a hit into the boss's shield. So this is definitely, if you have any defense buffer and you want to put Faultless Defense on them for their blessing, that is another way you can do extra hits into the stacks of the shield on the Fire Knight. But that is it for Fire Knight. Like I said, it's fairly simplistic. If you're struggling, it's because either you don't have the champions to be able to multi-hit through the boss and turn manipulate, which if it's the turn manipulation thing, you just build armature. And the other reason might be you just don't have the speed, in which case it's not really worth trying to farm that yet. So that is everything to do with Fire Knight. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.